If you're a fan of chatbots and artificial intelligence, then you've probably heard of ChatGPT, the incredible language model developed by OpenAI. ChatGPT has taken the world by storm, providing users a unique and engaging way to interact with AI. And with the recent buzz around the development of GPT-5, people are excited to see what's next for this impressive technology. In this video, we will be showcasing the most significant updates and development of ChatGPT. So, sit back, relax, and get ready to be amazed by the incredible capabilities of ChatGPT. The unprecedented rise of ChatGPT and the future of language model. ChatGPT's growth has been incredibly fast, reaching over 100 million users in just 60 days, making it one of the fastest growing platforms in the world. This means that it will undoubtedly have a profound impact on the world. As for GPT-4 and GPT-3, they have some interesting differences. GPT-4 can handle text and images, while GPT-5 is expected to include text, images, and video. OpenAI is even working on incorporating real-world robots into our lives. The implications of this technology are incredible, as it has already passed many different exams and can provide solutions to real-world problems. The future of AI. Companies that don't adopt GPT-4 and GPT-5 will fall behind. Companies need to start using language models like GPT-4 and eventually GPT-5 to be at a disadvantage compared to those who do. GPT-4 is already amazing at interpreting images and executing tasks based on those images, like creating a website. And we're only at GPT-4, which means GPT-5 will be even better, especially when integrated with the robots that OpenAI is working on. Some companies have already integrated language models into robots, like the Google robot, which can interact with its environment very well. This shows the potential of what ChatGPT could be capable of if OpenAI decides to deploy an autonomous force. Recently, someone tweeted that GPT-5 is scheduled to complete training in December and that OpenAI expects to achieve AGI. AGI stands for Artificial General Intelligence, which is widely speculated as one of the key tipping points when singularity may occur. We're already starting to see signs of AGI coming to life, which is something to pay attention to. Exploring the potential of GPT-4 and AGI. Have you heard about the most recent advancements in AI? GPT-4 has been identified as a critical factor in developing the AGI, or Artificial General Intelligence weapon. We see you are pursuing a lengthy and noteworthy research paper by Microsoft on this topic. AGI refers to the capacity to comprehend or learn any human endeavor with a high degree of precision, which is referred to by some as strong AI. Some believe it could even lead to sentient or conscious computer programs, which some have already attributed to GPT-4. GPT-5 could be even more sophisticated, as it already possesses sensory perception, creativity, and code generation. However, it is essential to observe that fine motor skills, such as removing keys from a pocket, require a level of imaginative perception that GPT currently lacks. OpenAI's investments in robotics point to the future of AI-enabled automation. OpenAI has been a significant player in this sector, investing in 1X, formerly Hello D Robotics, which focuses on large-scale artificial intelligence robots. These robots are adept at performing basic domestic tasks, such as baking gingerbread and patrolling a warehouse. OpenAI may seek to establish a foothold in an autonomous force by forming partnerships with lesser robotics firms. When the time comes to deploy GPT-5 in mechanical form, a force capable of interacting with the physical world may already exist. This could be utilized for commercial or retail skills, such as creating robots to execute particular menial tasks. Seeing where the AI landscape will lead us next is enthralling, as the possibilities are limitless. How GPT-5 and ChatGPT could revolutionize healthcare. Imagine combining GPT-4's knowledge with GPT-5's sensory perception or upgrading to it. It will be absolutely chaotic. We also see an increase in ChatGPT plugins. By the time GPT-5 is released, this platform will have numerous use cases, including those involving physicians. GPT-5 will have access to a vast quantity of high-quality data, allowing it to draw from various examples and provide much more accurate diagnosis. Better diagnosis and patient care may result from hospitals deploying robots or software providing access to voluminous information. There may even be a small app on your smartphone that allows you to request a diagnosis without visiting the doctor. ChatGPT has already saved the life of a canine, and if optimized for specific health issues, it could become extremely accurate at identifying whether or not a person has a particular condition. Imagine a future where machines can precisely diagnose our ailments. The potential of integrating GPT-4 and GPT-5. Integrating GPT-4's knowledge with GPT-5's enhanced sensory perception will revolutionize the healthcare system within a few seconds. Before releasing GPT-5, the developers must resolve several issues with GPT-4, including the message limit and the release of multimodal input and API. Given that the OpenAI is developing sophisticated software, it is difficult to predict when GPT-5 will be released. Despite the advancements made in AI leaders are concerned about the potential threat GPT-5 poses to humanity, and there have been discussions about suspending its production. The dissemination of GPT-5 will have significant positive and negative global repercussions. The dark side of GPT-5, implications and risks. GPT-5 is anticipated to be highly efficient and effective, but there is a potential disadvantage. It could replace millions of employees and be utilized in harmful ways. Although OpenAI's intention with GPT-5 is not to destroy the world, this interview demonstrates what could occur if the software falls into the wrong hands.
What was probably more striking about it than anything, right up there with its raw power, was that it was totally amoral, willing to do anything that the user asked, with basically no hesitation, no refusal, no chiding. It would just do it.
Even though GPT-5 is safe, it could be jailbroken or accessed by malicious actors. In this scenario, the potential outcomes are countless and quite terrifying. And that completes our video for today. We hope you enjoyed learning about the incredible updates and developments of ChatGPT. Which of them are you most excited about? Tell us in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Tech Bros for more content such as this.